Hello, and welcome to this short guide on how to use the Health Care and Wellbeing Collaboration and Commissioning Workbook. You're really welcome to follow along with the workbook open or just follow along on the screen. This workbook came about following a series of workshops in West Wales in early 2025. We use this workbook in the sessions, and we've also added a bit more detail afterwards, starting with some context of why you might want to work collaboratively, some ideas of examples of what's already happening in Wales, before moving on to exploring different ways of working together collaboratively. We've got the illustration which shows from informal collaboration on the left all the way over to more formal contracted alliances. And you've got the text box which give a little bit more detail as well. So that's some of the context that we're working with. We also did a jargon busting activity, which we found really helpful. People wanted to do something like this because there's so much terminology and not everyone's familiar with it. And even if they are, people use terms in different ways, maybe mean different things. The context we were looking at was Wales, Welsh policy, Welsh government policy, as well as the healthcare and wellbeing sector and local authorities and health boards, because they're often the people who are commissioning services in the healthcare and wellbeing sector. So really useful to whoever you're going to go into collaboration with, just check you know what that you agree on what you're talking about and what terminology means. And there's likely lots of other jargon in that you may want to add into this to just check that you're agreeing on the terminology that you're using. So we've got this page here, and then we've got a few pages with some definitions which you may agree with, or there may be things that you think are slightly different. That's absolutely fine. But the context is West Wales and healthcare and wellbeing. Moving on page 10 to the first activity. And the idea here is for you to have a really good think about what is good collaboration for you and your organisation. And to do this internally with your organisation, whether that's you or you and more people, think about really closely what is going to matter to you, what you're going to collaboration for, what you need from it, what it's going to mean for you. And to get really clear on this, because once you know, you're able to communicate that to other people. And when you've got boundaries of what matters to you and what you want to get involved in, that's going to help you be clearer and ultimately, hopefully, lead to better collaborative working. So there's some suggested questions here. You may want to work on the worksheet. You may want to do it in a totally different way, but spending a bit of time figuring out what that means to you is going to be important. When you've done that, move on to the next activity. Oh, before I do that, here are some responses that we collected from other people about what good collaboration looks like to them. And words like principles like community and caring and values, putting people at the heart of it, being transparent and building relationships, that's really important to people. And they may be some examples that you want to use in your own ideas of what collaboration is going to be like for you and your organisation. Moving on to the next activity. When you know what you're looking for in your organisation, you can start to identify what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats are. We call this a SWOT analysis. And on the page there, you've got 4 boxes. The page is divided into 4 to identify each different section. And by writing them down, by seeing what you can bring and what you maybe need some support with, it can be helpful when you're working with other collaborators to be transparent with each other. You can develop some trust with one another and compare and contrast on where you can support one another potentially, or maybe an area that you both need some more support in, or all need more support in, and you need to bring in additional help from somewhere else. Following the first 2 activities, we next suggest coming up with an action plan. So what are your next steps going to be? What resources or support do you need to take those next steps? And get clear on those so you can take action. And we end this workbook with some resources. We have an illustration of the commissioning cycle taken from the Social Services and Wellbeing Act, and there's a link down there at the bottom that you can follow to read the full document. And it gives you an idea of the cyclical nature of commissioning and the different steps that are involved and the different people that are involved, from the social value that the people bring, the commissioners developing the project or the work that's being done, and the procuring it, so the buying of the services. And ending with 7 principles for, in this case, formal contracted alliances. And these principles could well be useful to any groups going into collaborative working together. If you'd like to know more about this, there's a link at the bottom to a short course that's less than an hour long that you may want to go and do yourself, or go onto the Ideas Alliance website and find out a bit more, or simply use these as a bit of a template for whatever you're going to develop. Hopefully this has been useful. If you'd like more information, wherever you found this video may well have a link, or go to your local CVC, your Council of Voluntary Services. The WCVA for the whole of Wales has details. Thanks.